This is not gonna work. Okay. Oh, hi. Okay, well, I am trying to quickly sweep because I have this tape right here, and this tape is what I'm going to put on the ground to lay out where the walls are gonna go for this big basement we have that we are working on. We're working on a project, we're renovating. I hope I didn't just ruin this, okay. Anyway, we are renovating our basement, 1,500 square feet. We're using it, part of it's gonna be for public use for the events that we host on our property, and then the other part is gonna be full bath, bedroom, living area, all that wonderful stuff. So what I'm doing today is we need to make sure that we mark where the plumber is gonna come and cut into the cement so that he can put in, you know, the new things we need. I'm actually standing where we're gonna have 2 bathrooms that are public facing side. We have a sink that's gonna go in. We've got the public or our full bath in the back, another sink that's gonna be here for the kitchen area. We also have a fridge that's going in, new pumps that have to go in. We're on septic on our land. So we've got pumps that are gonna be going in to pump out to that, all of this different stuff. So the plumber needs us to mark those things, right? And I was gonna put this down because my contractor will be here in like 45 minutes or so. And I was gonna put this tape down, but it's dusty. It's real dusty. So the tape wasn't sticking, the other tape we had. So we got new tape and I was gonna sweep some, but my broom just broke. So that's not gonna work. That's okay though. We're still gonna make this happen. Okay, so you can see the door is right there. We're gonna have the 2 water closets, which are 30 inches by 60 inches. So we're gonna have 60 inches, since they're gonna go this way, we'll go like this. So because we'll have that, we'll have 30 inches, okay, 60 inches, 5 feet, and then we're gonna start the kitchenette. Let me show you the floor plan. So, how well can you see this? I might just take a picture of it and post it. But what we're focusing on is this area right here. One thing that we're going to do is we actually have to cover this right above me. We have to cover that up. It sticks out not quite 2 feet. So the good news is that we're able to build a wall that will match the depth of the cabinets that we'll have right next to it. So that'll be nice. It'll at least not look totally out of place. But the thing about that pipe is actually when, you flush a toilet, which might happen at some point while I'm filming, you can hear everything go through that pipe and out to our septic tank. So we do need to be able to have access to it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build the wall, but we will have to have an access panel. I'm thinking I'll put some piece of art or a mirror or something over it so you're not always staring at an access panel, especially since the view that you're gonna have right there is our table. We'll have our nice 16-foot table right here. And so I don't wanna just have that as a focal point. So playing around with how I can kind of cover that access panel, but you definitely want to make sure that you have it because you need to be able to have access and not have to cut through a dry wall in order to get to it. So that will be covered up. And then you can see, if I move over our HVAC here, you need to have some clearance in front of the HVAC as well. So that's why this wall we're gonna have, it actually is gonna go pretty far down. When we redesigned how we're gonna use the space, we realized this was probably the best way to do it to give us everything that we need. So that's one of the things that we're doing there. Okay, new outfit, new day, because I had to stop filming yesterday because the contractor and subcontractors who are gonna be doing the framing arrived, and so I had to put my attention to that. We got everything laid out that we needed to, except one area, which is the full bath that we're gonna have here, actually in that opposite room all the way at the end. The reason why we couldn't do that one was because it was too long. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so right here we have the tape laid out for where our bathroom is gonna go. It's a full bath. We're not trying to make it a huge mess, it's like primary bedroom type bath, but we did want to have something that was substantial for whenever we have guests come over, but also if anyone ends up living with us and using this extra bedroom as their home. We wanted to have a bathroom that would be at least comfortable and have everything that they needed. So we have a shower, vanity, with a sink, and then the toilet. So with that, we had measured it to be 9 feet deep, right? 9 feet long. You open the door, 9 feet to the wall. Unfortunately, that was incorrect because we then didn't have enough room for the door that we need to go into the bedroom. So we needed a certain amount of clearance in order to put the proper size door to the bedroom, and we didn't have that, so now we have to shorten the bathroom by a foot. So it'll now be an 8 foot long bathroom. The concern with that is that we wouldn't be able to, the way that everything's arranged and how narrow, tight it is, we wouldn't be able to fit those 3 things I mentioned: the toilet, the sink, and the shower, because we wanted to have a walk-in shower that was a 30 by 60, which was already, you know, it's a fine size, but a 36 would give a little bit more room, which is what we hoped for, but we didn't have the space for it. So realizing that we have to redraw everything out, we're looking at going into our storage area, which is the space next to it, to add a little bit more wiggle room. That's problematic because we actually really need that storage area. We already had to cut through a lot of our storage area in another part of the basement. So we're working that out, trying to rearrange some things in our attic so that we can better use that space for storage and then cut into this area so that we can have all of the things that we need in this full bathroom. So that's what we're working on now. But one of the things you want to keep in mind, and I'm so grateful for a contractor who pays attention to details, is that, you know, as we're looking at the clearance for a door, there's a minimum size we maybe could have gone to, but it wasn't wise to go with a smaller, you know, the minimum of a person being able to walk through the door, because you also have to think about furniture. How are you going to get your bed in there? How are you going to get, you know, all these other things that you might need to get into that space? You want to have a door that is more of your standard, like 36-inch door. You can, you know, have a little bit of wiggle room with that, but you just really have to be careful about how much clearance do you need for all of the other things outside of just the human being who's going to walk in that room, but the furniture and other things you're going to place in it. So glad for that catch, glad that we could fix it up, but now that means I have to redraw the layout for our shower, and we're going to have to take out some of our storage. Then we're going to use it for our family storage, but this is where I would be starting my seeds. We have a huge garden, you know, a 50 by 60 outside. We do a lot of seed starting in the winter time in preparation for spring, and this was going to be the area where I was going to do that. So it's actually really important that we make sure we get these measurements right so we can do the things that our family needs until one day I get a greenhouse, but who knows when that'll be. Okay, next thing. Next, we have the living room. This is the area where we're going to have a sofa, a TV that's actually going to go all the way on this back wall. The nice thing about being able to push back, that's about 5 feet deep, push back into that, is it allowed us to have these other rooms but still feel like there's a sense of space. We did not want people to come into the basement, people or ourselves, and feel really clustered, you know, together, but we did want to be able to maximize using as much space as we could for the different purposes we have. So it felt really good to be able to use that as our living area, be able to shift the couch up a little bit, and that creates a walkway here that leads to where we'll have the doors to the bedrooms and the bathroom, the unfinished storage, etc. So we're really excited about that. I can show it on my floor plan too, just to give you a better idea. I'll take a picture of it for the screen. And I know this doesn't look like your typical floor plans. It is drawn to scale. So Brandon and I are very clear on what it is, and when we walk through it with the contractor, they got it. But so just know it is good, but I know it doesn't look like what I would give to a client if I was working with them. So anyway, we have this living area, and then next to it, let me just turn this over. So next we have these poles, which are load bearing. We have 1, 2, 3 of them. They all are going to be able to go away because we're going to have a wall that goes along this area that will be able to hold the weight of the house. These are very, very important, but what we're going to be able to do now with the walls will allow us to eliminate those, have the wall up, and what we're going to do is put in a washer dryer. Again, we're anticipating that if our home, we don't know if anyone will ever live with us long term, but we just keep feeling like we need to keep that option open and prepare this space as though someone is coming. We don't know who's coming, we don't know what that'll look like, but we want to be prepared. And one thing that Brandon was very insistent on was that we have a washer and dryer. He just felt like that would be something that would be really helpful for people if they ever stayed with with us, which I agree. Having your own washer and dryer versus sharing with the other 6 people who live upstairs might, it might be nice, a little nice thing to have. So we're gonna have a washer, dryer, and then next to that is actually the pantry, and storage and things too. So that is this area. I have some ideas for little things that we might be able to add to help make it cozy and even more personal, but I'll share those in another video. Okay, at this point, I think I have walked through all of the floor plan side of things. I am just so excited for this. I really just, it is going towards the vision we have of just serving people and seeing what God does, because that's the best part about all this. We're making plans, we're praying through these things, but ultimately the fruit of anything good that comes out of this will be birthed because of prayer and God working. It's like being in the garden. My kids and I were just talking about that today, about the parable of the sower and the seeds that are planted on different soils, and the ones that were planted in some growth but then they're choked out, or they're planted on weeds and they're choked out, or some growth they didn't grow at all because it was bad soil, or they died right away, but then the good soil where the plants were able to grow and grow well. I was just thinking of, like, again, what we're doing is sowing in hope. I say this in the garden, I sow in hope, and I try to create a good environment, but I can't make anything come to fruition. That's truly just the kindness and grace of God that things grow and I get to see life happen. And that's how we feel here. Everything that we're doing, all of the plans, there's so much thought that's going into it. We haven't even touched all of the design details that I'm so excited about. But we haven't even touched that. But so much prayer is going into this, because we really do believe like the power of Jesus is in all things. That's why interior design, it can be, I don't know, it can be something like anything else. You can make it kind of snooty or about appearance and stuff like that, which isn't our heart towards it. And we constantly keep asking God to make sure that our hearts are not going that way, but that we stay focused on the vision of creating a beautiful and hospitable place. Because beauty points to hope in Jesus. Hope, it is a reminder of the good that can come. It was a reminder of our Creator, right? That's why I love making things beautiful. And of course, that word is, beauty to you and beauty to me might be different, but it is still beauty. There's still a way God works in beauty, and I love that. And that hospitality piece, it talks about it so much, just the ways that we see the Lord meet people, right? Jesus, so much. We're in the ending our time in Easter, right? But we reflect on all the ways that Jesus has met. When I say ending our time in Easter, I realize for those of you who don't follow the church calendar, that might be confusing. Easter is a 50-day season leading up to Pentecost, which is actually this coming Sunday. I don't know when this video will post, so Pentecost will likely have happened by the time this video posts. It's May 24th this year. But what you have in this season of Eastertide is I was reflecting quite a bit on Jesus and his meeting with the disciples, and that was that time before he ascended to sit at the right hand of the Father. Just the beauty of all of that. And I think of hospitality and just Jesus's way of being with and being present. Hallelujah, right? There's just so much goodness in it, and we are invited to be his witnesses and to do that. And so to me, creating a place where we can say, come, and then praying and asking God to bring forth the new life, to bring forth the healing, to bring forth whatever else he wants. I'm just excited. For me, this is setting the stage for whatever transformation God wants to do in our lives, me, my husband, our kids, and everyone else that he brings to this place. And my hope is that whatever happens here doesn't stay here, but it is brought out into the world where whoever comes, wherever they go, right? So anyway, that's my thing, always wanting to point back to the purpose of all of this, because to me, honestly, without it, it's just a little shallow, but with remembering who and what this is about, it just makes this all the more meaningful. So thank you for hanging out with me. It is an honor and a joy to get to share this with you, and I will catch you on the next one. Bless you.